What is real power? Is it armies, wealth, or something deeper like the liberation of the human spirit? What does it truly mean to be free? The Exodus story offers an answer. It's not just about escaping physical chains, but about a transformation of the soul. This ancient narrative is more than history. It's a living guide, a testament to a power greater than any ruler. It tells of a God who hears the oppressed and intervenes to set them free. The journey from despair to hope, from darkness to light, is a promise that deliverance is possible for those who hold on to faith. We all face our own pharaohs, challenges that enslave our spirits. The Exodus teaches that the first step to freedom is admitting we need help. True power, the story suggests, belongs to the one who can part seas and break the will of kings, not with armies, but with a promise. The Israelite story in Egypt began with welcome, not bondage. Joseph, once a slave, rose to power and saved Egypt from famine, bringing his family to settle in Goshen as honored guests. For years they prospered and multiplied, respected for Joseph's legacy. But time erases memory. A new pharaoh who knew nothing of Joseph saw the Israelites' growth as a threat. Fear replaced gratitude, and suspicion turned to oppression. Pharaoh enslaved the Israelites, forcing them into brutal labor to break their spirit. Yet the more they were oppressed, the more they multiplied. Pharaoh's plan backfired. His cruelty only deepened his paranoia, setting the stage for a confrontation with a power far greater than his own. The Israelites, once guests, became slaves, victims of fear and forgotten promises. But in their suffering, the seeds of liberation were sown. The stage was set for a story that would change history. Pharaoh's cruelty escalated. He ordered every newborn Hebrew boy drowned in the Nile. Yet hope survived. One mother hid her son, then set him afloat in a basket. Pharaoh's daughter found the child, named him Moses, and raised him as her own. Moses grew up in privilege, but never forgot his roots. When he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, he killed the oppressor and fled into exile. In Midian, Moses became a shepherd, far from Egypt's power. One day, he encountered a burning bush that was not consumed. God spoke from the fire, declaring he had heard his people's cries and would deliver them. Moses, the fugitive, was chosen to lead his people to freedom. Reluctant but called, Moses would return to Egypt not as a prince but as a messenger of liberation. The most unlikely leader was about to change the fate of a nation. Moses doubted himself. He was a fugitive, not a leader. God's answer was simple: I will be with you. Armed with this promise and his brother Aaron, Moses confronted Pharaoh. Let my people go. Pharaoh scoffed, refusing to recognize the God of slaves. To prove their authority, Aaron's staff became a serpent, swallowing the magician's staffs. Yet Pharaoh's heart was hardened. He dismissed the sign and increased the Israelites' suffering. The confrontation was not just between Moses and Pharaoh, but between pride and faith. Moses' weakness became his strength, for the mission depended not on him, but on the presence of God. The stage was set for a battle of wills, one that would shake the foundations of Egypt. Pharaoh's arrogance blinded him to the power he was about to face. The struggle for freedom had truly begun. The world would soon witness wonders beyond imagination. Pharaoh's refusal unleashed a series of plagues, each a direct challenge to Egypt's gods. The Nile turned to blood, frogs overran the land, gnats and flies tormented the people. Pharaoh's magicians could only mimic the first signs. Soon even they admitted, this is the finger of God. Livestock died, boils afflicted the people, and hail destroyed crops. Yet the Israelites were spared. Locusts devoured what remained, and darkness covered Egypt for 3 days, defying the sun god Ra. Each plague was a message. The God of the Hebrews ruled over nature and nations. Pharaoh's heart remained hard, but Egypt's power was crumbling. The plagues were not random disasters. They were targeted acts of judgment and liberation. The world was witnessing a contest between human pride and divine authority. The final blow was yet to come. After 9 plagues, Pharaoh's pride still held. God announced a final, devastating judgment, the death of every Egyptian firstborn. But the Israelites were given a way of escape, the first Passover. Each family marked their door with lamb's blood. The angel of death would pass over them. That night, dressed for departure, the Israelites waited in faith. At midnight, a cry of anguish rose across Egypt. The firstborn were dead. Pharaoh, broken, ordered the Israelites to leave at once. The Egyptians, desperate, gave them gold and goods to hasten their departure. The mightiest empire had been humbled. A nation of slaves walked free. The Passover became a symbol of salvation through sacrifice and obedience. Liberation was not just granted, it was seized through faith and action. The Israelites left behind bondage and stepped into destiny. The journey to freedom had begun. The Israelites, finally free, began their journey guided by a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night. But Pharaoh's regret turned to rage. He pursued them with his army, trapping them at the Red Sea. Fear gripped the Israelites as the chariots closed in and the sea blocked their escape. Moses urged them, "Stand firm, the Lord will fight for you." At God's command, Moses raised his staff, a mighty wind parted the waters. The Israelites crossed on dry ground, walls of water on either side. The Egyptians followed, but the sea returned, destroying Pharaoh's army. The threat was gone, freedom was secured. The impossible had happened, a path through the sea, a nation delivered. The Israelites stood on the far shore, witnesses to a miracle. Their faith had been tested and rewarded. The power of empire was shattered by the power of faith. A new chapter in their story had begun. On the far shore, the Israelites saw their oppressors defeated and their own freedom won. Awe and gratitude replaced fear. They were no longer slaves, but a people redeemed. This moment became the cornerstone of their identity, a story told for generations. The Exodus was more than escape, it was the birth of a nation and a faith. It showed that God acts in history, siding with the oppressed and breaking the power of empires. The journey was not just physical, but spiritual, a metaphor for every struggle for freedom. The Exodus teaches that liberation is possible, even when the way seems blocked. It is a story of hope. No power is absolute, no situation hopeless when faith is present. Through divine intervention and fragile faith, a group of slaves became a nation with a destiny. The promise of freedom endures, inspiring all who seek deliverance.